Insider drops shocking Bulls update. While contract talks between Josh Giddey and the Chicago Bulls are currently at a stalemate, there's a Western Conference team that are dealing with a similar situation and have now came out and expressed interest into the point guard himself. Hello, my name is Isaias Jackson Jr. Thank you guys so much for tuning into Bulls Digest. We got to get into all the news and notes into the Golden State Warriors expressing interest into the high-value point guard Josh Giddey himself. However, 67.5% of you guys are not subscribed. 32.5% of you guys are. We appreciate you guys on both sides of the field. And look, the crickets are going off outside. It is dark outside. It is absolutely peaceful. And I know you want to have a great night's sleep. Hit that subscribe button, like and share. That subscribe button is better than any type of Benadryl, any type of NyQuil, any type of ill you got out there. I'm telling you, you're going to have a peaceful sleep, a nice slumber. Hit that subscribe button, like and share. And thank you guys so much for tuning into Bulls Digest. Golden State Warriors reportedly interested. Unexpected Bulls. I'm sorry. Did I have a? I'm sorry. I was like, did I just have a stroke there? Golden State Warriors reportedly interested. Unexpected Bull star. Did that sound right to y'all? That don't sound right to me. I'm glad I just didn't butcher it. But I'll just going into it. All jokes aside, the Golden State Warriors could be looking to acquire an unexpected member of the Chicago Bulls, coming from Austin Veazey as well. And this is something that, of course, we've talked about with the Golden State Warriors, not in terms of them trying to acquire Josh Giddey, but the Chicago Bulls and Golden State Warriors, in terms of the rumor mill, have always been in talks, whether that's about Jonathan Kuminga, and, well, mainly that's just been the majority of what it has been about Jonathan Kuminga. Of course, the Golden State Warriors have been trying to sign him to a 2-year, $45 million deal, according to Shams Charania, which we'll get into in a little bit, and he hasn't been too thrilled about that deal at all. He's been denying it. He's been declining it. The Golden State Warriors want to bring him back, but at a cheaper price, and of course he wants to get paid in full, as the movie has it. So the Golden State Warriors are locked in a stalemate with restricted free agent Jonathan Kuminga, of course. And now, as Kuminga wants to leave the franchise while the Warriors are determined to bring him back for the right price, so what's one more restricted free agency battle? So NBA insider Jake Fisher revealed on his most recent stream for Bleacher Report that the Warriors have expressed interest in the Chicago Bulls guard Josh Giddey, who is also a free agent. And also is in a free agent stalemate with his team as well. And that's also one thing that's just going to veer out, for the Chicago Bulls. Of course, Josh Giddey wants $30 million. You're not gonna get $30 million off rip, at least with the quickness from the Chicago Bulls, after seeing what the Chicago Bulls are dealing with the Patrick Williams situation, in terms of having buyer's remorse, in more ways than one. So in terms of going back to the Josh Giddey situation, now the Golden State Warriors flipping this around and say, hypothetical, you go for the sign and trade, they reach out and they try to grab somebody like a Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey is going to be asking for way more money than what Jonathan Kuminga is asking for, and that's going to be something that the Golden State Warriors are going to have to take a gamble on. It's kind of going to have to be that in terms of just how some people have viewed the Luka Doncic trade, in terms of just the passing of the torch, where LeBron James, he's going to retire as a Los Angeles Laker, and pretty much the franchise is going to go to Luka Doncic. Now, Josh Giddey, of course, has all the potential in the world. Is Steph Curry going to be giving the keys to Josh Giddey when it's all said and done? I'm not in the terms of a smaller role, in terms of the point guard position, not necessarily the keys to the Golden State Warriors, in more ways than one, because Josh Giddey does have the talent to be a face of the franchise at some point in time. Does he have the chance? Does he have the opportunity to do it now? No, especially not for a team that's making a huge playoff push, in that instance. So the Golden State Warriors, to make a move like that, of course, you are taking a huge gamble. So going back to Jake's quotes, there have been multiple teams who have reached out to Josh Giddey's representation about having interest in Josh Giddey. Golden State is one of them. Golden State will be interested, depending on how the what? mechanizations could go in some type of Josh Giddey, Jonathan Kuminga sign and trade, to my understanding. And honestly, I just don't see that happening. I just don't see that happening at all. Of course, skipping on to Josh Giddey's contract dilemma, Giddey has been searching for a contract around $30 million per year, similar to Kuminga's asking price, but the Bulls haven't been willing to get that price. They want to lock him in to around $20 million a year. But Giddy is looking around at contracts like Emmanuel Quickly and Jalen Suggs, thinking he's worth that. Both these scenarios are very similar. Kuminga and Giddy think they have more value and leverage that they really do, and they're willing to wait until they get a contract that maximizes their value. Now, in more ways than one, I think this benefits Josh Giddey, of course, in terms of value and seeing what you're worth, value and leverage. Jonathan Kuminga, I do think, is going to struggle in that instance because once he leaves the Golden State Warriors, I do think there is going to be a replacement. There is a replaceable asset for Jonathan Kuminga, especially when you have the talent that has risen up, the young talent that has risen up in Golden State, like the TJDs of the world, and in terms of outside of that position, but the Brandon Podziemskis of the world. So, you're seeing Golden State, and although they're not making a huge playoff push, they're playing some fun basketball in more ways than one, and I can see them having a replaceable fit for Jonathan Kuminga there. While in the Chicago Bulls case, on the flip side, if you give up somebody like a Jonathan Kuminga in that case, you still got to turn around and pay Kobe White the $30 million plus that he's possibly asking for next season. And do you want to lose two guards and then also keep a really solid wing? Not saying that Jonathan Kuminga isn't good. I do think he is good, but at this point in time, right now, for what you're going to get, and especially seeing him in the Chicago Bulls jersey, I think you're just going to get a solid outing, for Jonathan Kuminga, and I think that's just going to be. You're just going to be looking at a mediocre Chicago Bulls team as we have been seeing for a while. And of course, this is going to the tweet from Legion Hoops. Report the Warriors have expressed interest in acquiring Josh Giddey himself. So, of course, Fisher also went on to explain that the Golden State Warriors thought the Oklahoma City Thunder were taking Jonathan Kuminga in 2021, and they would have selected Giddey with the next pick. Of course, goes on to say, and I quote, when he quotes, the Warriors were prepared on draft night way back in 2021 for Jonathan Kuminga to go number 6 to Oklahoma City, and they were ready to take Josh Giddey number 7, Fisher said. So even then, Golden State Warriors were always ready to jump on Josh Giddey and also just put him in a Golden State Warriors jersey to begin with. Now, just going on the flip side, this is coming from Athlon Sports. This is going back to the deal that the Golden State Warriors offered Jonathan Kuminga. Golden State Warriors, of course, going down to the second paragraph. First paragraph is pretty much explaining Jonathan Kuminga and Shams Charania, explaining that the last offer Golden State made to Kuminga was turned down. He says, and I quote, the Golden State Warriors made another push to retain Jonathan Kuminga over the past several days, but the restricted free agent is continuing to decline their 2-year, $45 million contract offer. Now, if you're going to be willing to offer that to Jonathan Kuminga, and especially in a sign-in trade, and depending on what the Bulls going to give Josh Giddey in the sign-in trade per se as well, you're still giving up a way more assets and value going into that on the Chicago Bulls part, and also you're also paying Josh Giddey a whole lot more in the Golden State Warriors part when you're trying to save money, especially when it seems like you're just knitting around with this deal with Jonathan Kuminga, a deal that's been pretty much been trying to get worked on since the season's been going on. Jonathan Kuminga has also been expressing his displeasure not only with his playing time, but of course with his time with the Golden State Warriors itself. So, and of course with Steve Kerr as well. Even though Steve Kerr has talked very highly of Jonathan Kuminga, there's still still a lot of muddy waters there per se. But with Jonathan Kuminga, with Josh Giddey, it's been pretty much sunshine and lollipops with the Chicago Bulls, especially after the All-Star game where you've seen the amazing run that they went on. Of course, you've seen the half-court shot Josh Giddey hits. It was a whole lot of fun. You start seeing a lot of cracks, in the armor once we started getting to the offseason, once Josh Giddey starts actually putting his foot down, demanding the $30 million, in the Chicago Bulls still going out and saying, well, you can find your best offer and we'll match it. Well, there's not an offer that's out there that's either appeasing Josh Giddey, or there's not really enough teams that's out there that has enough cap to go out there and offer Josh Giddey the amount of money that he's asking for, which of course is pretty common as well. At least a couple weeks ago, or coming up on a month ago, the last team that we talked about was the Brooklyn Nets, having that cap space to bring in and offer somebody like the likes of Josh Giddey that amount of money that he's asking for. And it's just unfortunate that we're still at this stalemate, and now we're coming up on, well, this could be a nice signing trade between the Chicago Bulls and the Golden State Warriors, when in actuality this does hurt the Chicago Bulls more in more ways than one. Yes, Jonathan Kuminga is a really good wing. Is a really good wing, solid, a really good potential. Pretty much the sky is the limit for Josh Giddey. For Josh Giddey, of course, yeah, but for Jonathan Kuminga, it's just a matter of, especially in Josh Giddey's case, you don't want to give up your point guard. You don't want to put yourself in a horrible position, and talking about it for the Chicago Bulls. You don't want to put yourself in a horrible position where you lose Josh Giddey, and then the next year, now you're at another stalemate with Kobe White, and you're pretty much coming through in the same situation. Now you're back to mediocrity. We still have Nikola Vucevic. We don't know what we're getting out of him and his deal. I do believe with what's going on with this Josh Giddey and Chicago Bulls saga, Josh Giddey will still remain a Chicago Bull. It's just a matter of now, after Josh Giddey puts pen to paper, we got to turn our heads to Kobe White with the quickness, at that point in time, because now it's going to be, is he going to re-sign to the Chicago Bulls for about coming up on $90 million, less than $100 million, or is he going to test his value out in the open market and see if he can get a bag out there, because of course he is worth it. So just going back into the graphics here in more ways, in the stats, in the statistics: 14.6 points per game, 8.1 rebounds, 7.2 assists, 46% from the field, 37% for three-point range. Of course, 22 years old, just a monster at the point guard position. Then, of course, looking at Jonathan Kuminga, a really solid wing, and 15 points per game, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, of course, 1 turnover a game, 45% from field goal range, from the field, and 30% from the three-point range. 22 years old as well, 6'8", standing real tall. And with Josh Giddey, you're getting a lot of the ball handling work. You're getting a lot done, with Josh Giddey with the ball in his hands. Jonathan Kuminga, sometimes he could hurt you. He could look a little bit like Patrick Williams. It could be like looking in the mirror. You don't need 2 Patrick Williams on a team, especially when Jonathan Kuminga is going to come through and have an off night. And it's going to be looking like 2 Spider-Mans pointing at each other, if you guys have seen the meme before. So Jonathan Kuminga, of course, is not happy with the 2-year, $45 million that has been offered to him by the Golden State Warriors. And of course, Josh Giddey himself is still at a stalemate with the Chicago Bulls. What do you guys think the Chicago Bulls should do in this situation? Do you guys think this is a good move for the Chicago Bulls? Just hurry up and get the move out the way? Or do you think the Chicago Bulls are just dragging their feet with this Josh Giddey saga, and they should hurry up and just pay the man what he is worth? Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.